June 3, 2021, 6:42 a.m. A jogger discovers a body in Riverside Park. The victim, 34-year-old Marcus Holloway, a beloved high school teacher, father of two, and by all accounts, a man without enemies. Within hours, detectives would piece together something unprecedented, a nearly complete timeline of Marcus's final 24 hours. Security cameras, digital records, witness statements, phone data, everything preserved, everything documented. They had footage of his last breakfast, his last conversation, his last smile. They could trace his movements minute by minute, from Wednesday morning to Thursday dawn, and yet, none of it explained who killed him, or why. Today, we're revealing evidence never before seen by the public. Surveillance footage, witness statements, digital breadcrumbs that paint the most detailed picture ever assembled of a victim's final hours. Hour by hour, moment by moment, we're going to walk through Marcus Holloway's last day on Earth. Because somewhere in these 24 hours is a killer. Someone who entered Marcus's life, took it, and vanished back into the shadows. Someone who might be in this footage. Someone who might have left a trace we've all been missing. This is the complete story of the last 24 hours before the murder. Wednesday, June 2, 2021, 6:04 a.m. Marcus Holloway's alarm goes off. We know this because his smart home system logged it along with hundreds of other data points that would later help investigators reconstruct his final day with stunning precision. Ring camera footage from Marcus's front door shows him leaving his house at 6:47 a.m., right on schedule. He's wearing a blue button-down shirt, khaki pants, carrying a leather messenger bag. He waves to his neighbor, Mr. Peterson, who's collecting his newspaper. They exchange a few words, small talk about the weather. Mr. Peterson would later tell police that Marcus seemed completely normal, maybe even cheerful. Marcus's car, a 2018 silver Honda Accord, pulls out of the driveway at 6:52 a.m. Traffic cameras capture his route to Riverside High School, where he'd taught American history for 9 years. He stops at a red light at Maple and 3rd. He changes lanes on Highway 9. He signals his turns. A mundane, unremarkable commute. At 7:18 a.m., Marcus pulls into the school parking lot. Security footage shows him parking in his usual spot, row C, space 14. He sits in his car for a moment, checking his phone. Later analysis would show he was reading news articles and responding to a text from his wife, Jennifer. "Have a great day. Love you," he replied. "You too. Love you more." That text was sent at 7:21 a.m. Marcus enters Riverside High School at 7:24 a.m., swiping his faculty ID card at the main entrance. This electronic record would become crucial. Investigators could track every time he entered or exited the building, every door he used, creating an unbroken chain of his movements. Security cameras in the hallway capture Marcus heading to the faculty lounge. He pours coffee black, no sugar, and chats with fellow teacher Amanda Price about upcoming final exams. Their conversation is captured on camera, though there is no audio. Body language experts later analyzed the footage. Both subjects appear relaxed, engaged in normal workplace conversation. At 7:45 a.m., Marcus heads to his classroom, room 214, second floor, East Wing. He unlocks the door, turns on the lights, writes the day's lesson on the whiteboard. The Civil Rights Movement. Turning points. Students begin arriving at 8 o'clock a.m. First period starts at 8:15 a.m. For the next 50 minutes, Marcus teaches 23 sophomores about American history. Several students would later describe the class as totally normal. Marcus was engaged, energetic, passionate about the subject, exactly as he always was. Between 8:15 a.m. and 12 o'clock p.m., Marcus teaches 3 classes, supervises a study hall, and holds office hours. Security footage captures him moving through the school's hallways, greeting students, carrying stacks of papers to be graded. At 10:30 a.m., during his free period, Marcus makes a phone call. Phone records show he called his wife, Jennifer. The call lasts 8 minutes. Jennifer later told police they discussed dinner plans, their daughter's upcoming dance recital, and a doctor's appointment Marcus had scheduled for next week. "It was completely ordinary," she said. "Just a normal check-in call. We said I love you and hung up." At 11:47 a.m., Marcus is captured on camera in the school's copy room, making photocopies of a worksheet for tomorrow's class. He chats with English teacher Robert Chen, who's also making copies. They discuss weekend plans. Marcus mentions wanting to take his family hiking at Miller's Falls. Lunch period begins at 12 o'clock p.m. 12:14 p.m. Cafeteria security footage shows Marcus entering with 3 other teachers. They grab lunch from the hot food line. Marcus chooses the chicken sandwich and a side salad and sit at their usual table. This footage has been analyzed extensively. Investigators looked for anything unusual, someone watching Marcus, an unexpected interaction, a moment of concern or fear. They found nothing. Just 4 teachers eating lunch, talking, laughing at shared jokes. One detail did stand out though. At 12:31 p.m., Marcus checks his phone and his expression changes briefly. Not dramatically, just a subtle shift. He looks at the screen for about 10 seconds, then puts the phone down and continues eating. Whatever he saw didn't alarm him enough to excuse himself or stop eating. But something caught his attention. Phone records later revealed what Marcus was looking at: an email. The sender? Unknown. The content? Encrypted. Digital forensics teams would spend weeks trying to crack that email, attempting to recover it from servers and backup systems. They never succeeded. Whatever that email said, it's been permanently lost to time. School bell ringing at 12:50 p.m. Lunch period ends. Marcus returns to room 214 for 6th period, his largest class, 31 students. Attendance records show everyone was present that day. The lesson continues: civil rights movement, discussion questions, small group activities. Several students later reported that Mr. Holloway seemed maybe a little distracted during this class. Not obviously upset or concerned, just not quite himself. When asked to elaborate, students struggled to pinpoint what was different. He was still teaching, said junior Emma Rodriguez, but usually Mr. Holloway is super enthusiastic, making jokes, really engaging. That day, he seemed like he was going through the motions, still professional, still good, just not quite as energetic. One student, senior David Kim, noticed something specific. Mr. Holloway kept checking his phone, like, more than usual. Every few minutes, he'd glance at it on his desk. At one point, I saw him type something quickly, then put it back down. He never did that during class normally. At 2:15 p.m., the school day ends. Security footage shows the usual chaos: students flooding hallways, heading to lockers, leaving the building. Marcus remains in his classroom, grading papers at his desk. At 2:47 p.m., a student enters room 214. This is visible on hallway security cameras. The student, junior Ashley Morrison, later confirmed she came to ask about extra credit opportunities. Their conversation lasted about 10 minutes. Ashley described Marcus as helpful and nice, like always, but noted he seemed a little tired maybe. At 3:02 p.m., Ashley leaves. Marcus is alone in his classroom. For the next hour and 18 minutes, security footage shows no one entering or leaving room 214. At 4:20 p.m., Marcus exits his classroom, locks the door, and walks to the faculty parking lot. Security cameras capture his entire route. He walks with purpose, messenger bag over his shoulder, looking at his phone as he walks, reading something, scrolling through what appears to be text messages. He reaches his car at 4:26 p.m. He sits in the driver's seat for approximately 3 minutes, still looking at his phone. From the angle of the camera, investigators can see him typing a long message, based on how long he spends on the phone. Phone records show Marcus sent a text at 4:29 p.m. The recipient, unknown number. The message was sent via an encrypted messaging app, Signal, which automatically deletes messages after a set time period. By the time police obtained Marcus's phone the next day, the conversation had been wiped clean. No recovery possible. No way to know what he wrote, or who he was writing to. At 4:30 p.m., Marcus starts his car and leaves the school parking lot. Traffic cameras track his route, but not towards home. Instead, he heads downtown, toward Riverside's business district. At 4:47 p.m., Marcus parks his car on 5th Street, feeds the parking meter, and walks 2 blocks east. Security footage from various businesses captures his path. He appears focused, walking quickly, checking his phone periodically. At 4:53 p.m., Marcus enters the Cornerstone Cafe, a small coffee shop popular with locals. The cafe's internal security camera provides clear footage of what happens next. Marcus orders at the counter an Americano and takes a seat at a corner table. He's facing the door, back to the wall. He checks his phone again. He waits. At 5:08 p.m., someone enters the cafe. A man, approximately 40 to 45 years old, wearing dark jeans and a gray hoodie. The camera angle doesn't capture his face clearly, the hoodie obscures much of it, and he seems aware of camera placement, keeping his head angled down. The man approaches Marcus's table. They don't shake hands. They don't embrace. The body language suggests this isn't a friendly meeting. Marcus appears tense. The man sits down across from him. For the next 23 minutes they talk. No audio exists, the cafe's system only recorded video. Investigators brought in professional lip readers to analyze the footage. Results were inconclusive. Both men's lips were partially obscured, Marcus by his coffee cup, which he drank from frequently, and the stranger by the angle in his hoodie. But the body language told a story. Initially, Marcus appears defensive, arms crossed, leaning back. The stranger leans forward, speaking intently. At 1:19 p.m., Marcus shakes his head firmly. No. Whatever's being proposed or discussed, Marcus is refusing. The stranger slides something across the table. It's small, flat, possibly a piece of paper or an envelope. Marcus looks at it but doesn't pick it up. More conversation. The stranger appears frustrated, gesturing with his hands. At 5:31 p.m., Marcus stands up. The meeting is over. He leaves the item on the table and walks toward the exit. The stranger remains seated, watching him go. Marcus exits the Cornerstone Cafe at 5:32 p.m. Street cameras capture him walking quickly back to his car, head down, hands in pockets. He reaches his vehicle at 5:37 p.m., sits inside for 2 minutes, then starts the engine. At 5:39 p.m., Marcus drives away. His next stop, home. He pulls into his driveway at 6:04 p.m. Ring camera footage shows him entering his house, where his wife and 2 children are waiting for dinner. 6:04 p.m. Marcus Holloway walks through his front door, greeted by the sounds of family life. His daughter Emma, age 9, runs to hug him. His son Lucas, age 6, is watching cartoons in the living room. His wife Jennifer is in the kitchen preparing dinner. Jennifer later described this evening in heartbreaking detail. He seemed distracted when he first got home, she told investigators. I asked if everything was okay, and he said work had been stressful. Grading papers, end-of-year evaluations, teacher stuff. I didn't think anything of it. Home security cameras, including a smart doorbell and a nanny cam in the living room, captured snippets of the Holloway family's evening. The footage is intimate, mundane, achingly normal. A family having dinner, helping with homework, watching TV together. At 6:30 p.m., the family sits down for dinner. Spaghetti and meatballs, Lucas's favorite. Smart speaker records show they played dinner music, a Spotify playlist Jennifer had created. Conversations about school, upcoming summer vacation, Emma's dance recital scheduled for next week. But Jennifer noticed something. Marcus kept checking his phone during dinner, she recalled. That wasn't like him. He had a rule about no phones at the dinner table, and he usually followed it religiously. But that night, he checked it maybe 4 or 5 times. When I gave him a look, he apologized and put it away, but I could tell something was on his mind. Phone records confirm Marcus received 3 text messages during dinner, all from unknown numbers via encrypted apps. All messages have since been deleted automatically, with no possibility of recovery. At 7:15 p.m., dinner ends. Marcus helps Jennifer clean up while the kids watch TV. Security footage shows a seemingly peaceful domestic scene. Marcus washing dishes, Jennifer putting away leftovers. Normal evening routine. At 7:45 p.m., Marcus helps Emma with math homework at the kitchen table. The nanny cam captures this interaction. Emma struggles with long division. Marcus patiently explains the process using examples, drawing diagrams on paper. To anyone watching, he's a dedicated father helping his daughter learn. But there's a moment, at 7:53 p.m., where Marcus pauses. Emma asks him a question, and he doesn't respond immediately. He's staring at his phone, which is face up on the table. His expression is difficult to read: concern, fear, resignation. The moment lasts maybe 5 seconds, then he blinks, refocuses, and answers Emma's question. At 8 p.m., it's bedtime for the kids. Marcus reads Lucas a bedtime story. Audio from the nanny cam captures his voice reading Where the Wild Things Are, one of Lucas's favorites. Jennifer texts Emma, helping her pick out clothes for school the next day. By 8:30 p.m., both children are asleep. Jennifer and Marcus spend the next hour watching TV in the living room. They're viewing a crime documentary on Netflix. The irony isn't lost on anyone reviewing this case. At 9:15 p.m., Jennifer goes upstairs to take a shower and get ready for bed. She works early mornings as a nurse at Riverside General Hospital and typically goes to sleep by 10 p.m. Marcus remains downstairs. Security footage from the nanny cam shows him on his phone, typing, scrolling, occasionally putting it down and picking it back up. He seems agitated, restless. At 9:47 p.m., Marcus receives a phone call. Phone records show the call came from an unknown number and lasted 97 seconds. Investigators tried to trace this call for months. Like the previous calls that day, it was routed through encryption protocols that made it virtually untraceable. Jennifer, upstairs in the bathroom, didn't hear this call. When investigators later played her the timestamp and asked if Marcus mentioned receiving any calls that evening, she had no recollection of it. At 10:03 p.m., Jennifer comes downstairs in her pajamas, ready for bed. Security footage shows her kissing Marcus goodnight. He seemed stressed, she later recalled. I asked if he wanted to talk about anything. He said he was fine, just tired, and that he had some work emails to respond to before bed. I told him not to stay up too late, and I went to bed. Jennifer falls asleep around 10:20 p.m., exhausted from a long shift at the hospital. Marcus remains downstairs. For the next hour, security cameras capture Marcus in the living room. He's not watching TV. He's not grading papers. He's sitting on the couch, phone in hand, deep in thought. Several times, he starts typing a message, then deletes it. He stands up, paces, sits back down. At 11:08 p.m., Marcus goes to the kitchen. He pours himself a glass of water. He stands at the sink, looking out the window into the dark backyard. He stays there for several minutes, just standing, thinking. At 11:31 p.m., Marcus makes a decision. Security footage shows him grabbing his car keys from the hook by the door, putting on a jacket, and quietly opening the front door. He pauses at the threshold, looks back into the house toward the staircase where his wife and children are sleeping, and then steps outside. The Ring camera captures him getting into his car. The timestamp reads 11:34 p.m. Marcus sits in the driver's seat for a moment, hands on the steering wheel, not moving. Then he starts the engine. At 11:36 p.m., Marcus Holloway drives away from his house. He will never return. 11:36 p.m. Wednesday night, technically early Thursday morning, Marcus Holloway drives through Riverside's quiet streets. Most of the town is asleep. Traffic cameras capture his route, and it's telling. He's not heading downtown. He's not going to the school. He's driving toward the eastern edge of town, toward Riverside Park, a sprawling 200-acre nature reserve with hiking trails, picnic areas, and dense forest. At 11:52 p.m., Marcus's car is captured by a traffic camera on East River Road, the main route to the park's entrance. His vehicle is the only one on the road. At this hour, on a Wednesday night, the park is closed. The gates are locked, but there are other ways and access roads for maintenance, unofficial parking spots known to locals. At 12:04 a.m., Marcus pulls into a gravel lot off Meadow Lane, about a quarter mile from the park's official entrance. This lot isn't monitored by cameras. It is a dead zone in the surveillance network that has tracked Marcus's every move for the past 18 hours. And that's where the visual trail goes cold. No cameras capture what happens next. The gravel lot is surrounded by woods. The nearest streetlight is too far away to provide illumination. For the next 6 hours and 38 minutes, we have no footage, no witnesses, no digital breadcrumbs. What we do know comes from forensic evidence, phone records, and the final tragic discovery at 6:42 a.m. Marcus's phone remained active during this time period. Cell tower data places it in the vicinity of Riverside Park from 12:04 a.m. until approximately 3:17 a.m. During those 3 hours, the phone connected to towers, indicating it was powered on and searching for signal, though the park's dense forest and terrain made consistent connection difficult. Phone records show several attempts to make calls during this window. At 12:31 a.m., Marcus tried calling an unknown number. The call didn't connect straight to voicemail. He tried again at 12:33 a.m. Same result. At 12:47 a.m., Marcus sent a text message via Signal. The content, as with all his encrypted messages that day, is lost. But we know he sent it, and we know approximately 3 minutes later, he received a response. The exchange continued back and forth, 5 messages each until 1:02 a.m., then nothing for over an hour. Cell tower triangulation places Marcus's phone deeper into Riverside Park around 1:15 a.m. He was moving, walking through the woods. Whether he was alone or with someone is unknown. At 2:38 a.m., Marcus's phone made one final call. Duration, 27 seconds. The recipient, unknown. The content, unknown. At 2:39 a.m., the phone went dark. Either it was powered off, the battery died, or it was destroyed. Digital forensics would later determine the phone was still functioning when service ceased, meaning someone deliberately turned it off or damaged it beyond connectivity. What happened between 2:39 a.m. and 6:42 a.m. is the gap that haunts this investigation. 4 hours and 3 minutes. No surveillance. No witnesses. No evidence trail, except the evidence left behind on Marcus Holloway's body. At 6:42 a.m., jogger Patricia Simmons is running her usual morning route through Riverside Park. The sun is just rising, golden light filtering through the trees. Patricia knows these trails well. She runs them every morning, rain or shine. As she rounds a bend near the old stone bridge, she sees something unusual. At first, her brain doesn't process it. Just a shape, dark against the grass. But as she gets closer, reality sets in. It's a person, lying motionless on the ground, partially obscured by bushes. Patricia's 911 call came in at 6:44 a.m. There's someone, I think they're dead, by the bridge in Riverside Park. Please send help. First responders arrived at 6:51 a.m. What they found was a crime scene that would baffle investigators for months to come. Marcus Holloway was dead. The cause of death, blunt force trauma to the back of the head, delivered by a smooth, rounded object later determined to be a rock from the creek bed approximately 30 feet away. The blow had been powerful, deliberate, fatal. But here's what made no sense. There were no signs of struggle, no defensive wounds on Marcus's hands, no torn clothing, no evidence that he'd fought back or tried to run. Forensic analysis suggested Marcus had been kneeling when the fatal blow was struck, as if he'd submitted willingly, or perhaps didn't see it coming. His wallet was in his pocket, untouched. His wedding ring was still on his finger. This wasn't a robbery. His car keys were found 10 feet away, as if they'd fallen from his hand or pocket. The medical examiner determined time of death between 2:30 a.m. and 4 o'clock a.m., consistent with when his phone went dark. Most puzzling was Marcus's phone. It wasn't with his body. Despite extensive searches of the area, forensic teams combing every inch of ground within a 50-yard radius, the phone was never found. Someone took it. Someone wanted to ensure whatever information it contained would never be recovered. The investigation exploded from there. Detective Sarah Chen, lead investigator on the case, assembled a task force. They retraced Marcus's entire day. They interviewed everyone he'd spoken to. They analyzed every second of surveillance footage, every phone record, every digital footprint. They identified the man from the cafe after weeks of investigation and enhanced facial recognition technology. They got a partial ID. But the lead went nowhere. The man had used a fake name on the coffee shop's rewards program. The credit card used to purchase his drink was traced to a shell company. Another dead end. The encrypted messages remained unrecovered. The unknown phone numbers couldn't be traced. The email Marcus received at lunch was lost forever. Over the following months, investigators developed theories. Marcus had been lured to the park. He'd gone there to meet someone. Based on the evidence, his willingness to go, his lack of struggle, his submissive posture when killed, it was likely someone he knew, or at least someone he'd agreed to meet. The cafe meeting earlier that evening appeared to be a setup, a negotiation that had gone wrong. Whatever was in that envelope or paper the stranger had slid across the table, whatever was discussed, It had led to Marcus's death hours later. But why? What had Marcus been involved in? Who wanted him dead? Investigators dug into his life. They examined his finances clean, his personal relationships solid, his work history exemplary. They interviewed hundreds of people. They followed countless leads. Nothing stuck. No motive emerged. No suspects were charged. 3 years have passed since Marcus Holloway was murdered in Riverside Park. 3 years since his wife Jennifer became a widow. His children lost their father. 3 years of investigation, forensic analysis, public appeals for information. And the case remains unsolved. We've shown you the evidence. 24 hours of Marcus Holloway's life, documented in unprecedented detail. We've seen him teach his classes, meet a mysterious stranger, spend time with his family, drive to his death in the middle of the night. We have hundreds of hours of surveillance footage. We have phone records. We have witness statements. We have forensic evidence. We know where Marcus was, who he talked to, what he did, almost minute by minute. And yet, we don't know who killed him. We don't know why. We don't know what he was involved in that led to his death. Detective Sarah Chen, now the lead investigator with Riverside Police Department's Major Crimes Unit, remains committed to solving this case. The evidence is there, she told us in a recent interview. Somewhere in those 24 hours is the key. We've reviewed everything 1,000 times. We're missing something. Some connection. Some detail that would make everything click into place. The mysterious man from the calf has never been identified. Despite releasing enhanced images to the public, despite pleas for him to come forward, he remains a ghost. Investigators believe he holds critical information about what happened to Marcus, even if he's not the killer himself. The encrypted messages remain unrecovered. Technology simply doesn't exist yet to decrypt and recover those deleted conversations from servers that prioritize user privacy above all else. Whatever Marcus was discussing in those messages, whatever led him to that calf, to that park, to his death is locked away forever. Marcus's phone has never been found. Investigators believe whoever killed him took it, likely destroyed it, eliminating crucial evidence that could have solved this case. Jennifer Holloway has since moved with her children to another state, seeking distance from the trauma and pain. She's never spoken publicly about the case beyond her initial interviews with police. Emma is now 12. Lucas is 9, both growing up without their father, carrying the weight of unanswered questions. The hardest part isn't that he's gone, Jennifer said in her final interview before moving. It's not knowing why. Was he in trouble? Was someone threatening him? Was there something in his life I didn't know about? I keep replaying that last evening, the way he seemed distracted, stressed. I should have pushed harder. I should have demanded to know what was wrong. Maybe I could have prevented this. Investigators have assured Jennifer that nothing she could have said or done would have changed what happened. Marcus was on a path that evening, a path that led to Riverside Park. Whether he went willingly under duress or with the naive belief he could handle the situation, we may never know. The last 24 hours before Marcus Holloway's murder have been dissected, analyzed, studied by professionals and amateur internet sleuths alike. Online communities have pored over every frame of surveillance footage, every detail of phone records, every witness statement. Theories abound. Marcus was involved in something illegal and tried to back out. He witnessed something he shouldn't have. He was being blackmailed. He had a secret life no one knew about. He was killed in a case of mistaken identity. He was meeting an informant about something dangerous. Every theory has some supporting evidence. None have enough to solve the case. What we're left with is a tragic irony. In an age where everything is recorded, tracked, monitored, where privacy is nearly extinct and surveillance is ubiquitous, a man's last 24 hours are documented in exceptional detail. And yet, it's not enough. Marcus Holloway's murder reminds us that evidence alone doesn't solve crimes. Context matters. Motive matters. Understanding the human element, the why behind the what, that's what closes cases. And that's what remains frustratingly out of reach. If you have any information about Marcus Holloway's murder, please contact Riverside Police Department. Even the smallest detail, something that seemed insignificant at the time, could be the piece investigators need to finally solve this case. Marcus was a teacher, a father, a husband, a friend. He impacted hundreds of lives through his teaching. His students remember him as passionate, caring, someone who made history come alive. He deserved better than to die alone in a park, killed by someone who remains free. His family deserves answers. His students deserve closure. And justice demands that whoever took Marcus Holloway's life be held accountable. The evidence is all here. The final 24 hours documented and preserved. Somewhere in this timeline is the truth. We just have to find it. This case remains unsolved. If you have any information, please come forward. Victim: Marcus Holloway. Age: 34. Date of death: June 3, 2021. Location: Riverside Park, Riverside, WA. Anyone with information is urged to contact Riverside Police Department Major Crimes Unit. Crime Stoppers Tip Line: if you appreciate in-depth, respectful true crime documentaries like this one, consider subscribing to the channel.